Hello, my name is Dr. Brian Raid, and I'm a naturopathic doctor. And this is a video about a little life hack or brain hack that I was recently brought to my attention, and I wanted to share it with anyone who's interested in watching this video. So I was listening to a podcast recently. It's a podcast called The Art of Manliness. Despite the name, it's actually, I think, applicable to anyone, not just men. And there's always lots of great guests and topics and things like that. And episode number 768, which I had to write down because I didn't think I would remember that. It's all about the benefits of what they refer to as monotasking. So many of us everyone has heard of multitasking, and some of us erroneously believe that we can multitask, but evidently there have been studies done, and admittedly I have not fact-checked these studies because there's too much to fact-check in this world, but evidently some social scientists have done studies looking, basically have irrefutably proven apparently that we cannot truly multitask. We can do a lot of task switching. So for example, if you're trying to say you're on a Zoom call or some other type of video call, and you're listening to person talking, but you're trying to answer emails at the same time. You might be thinking like, oh, I'm multitasking. It's like, no, you're just task switching. Your brain is just kind of like listening a bit, doing the email, listening a bit, doing the email, and there really is no true multitasking. Apparently, I think they were saying in this interview about 2% of people are super taskers, which I think allow them to more effectively engage in sort of like a background activity while doing something more in the foreground of their brains. But anyways, apparently multitasking in general is a myth. We can't truly do it, and it actually puts quite a lot of stress on our brains when we're trying to multitask. So I was listening to this and thinking about all the times that I have tried to multitask in my life, and just recognizing that or noticing the pattern that when I do try to multitask, it is a bit more stressful, and it is something that's really not nearly as efficient. As the uh, uh, person being interviewed, he wrote a book all about monotasking, and he was talking about how at the end of the day, you're going to make more mistakes when you're trying to do multiple things at once. You're not going to give things, quite the full attention that they necessarily deserve, and that it can actually increase your stress level. So I was paying attention to this. I've been playing with this over the last little bit, and just noticing that when I'm in meetings, when I'm, chatting with my resident, when I'm trying to do things at home while the kids are running around or whatnot, I was trying doing things a little bit differently, even getting ready in the morning, getting ready for work, always having something on in the background, listening to a podcast or doing some continuing education learning or whatnot. Just kind of paying attention to what's it like when I'm just focusing on one thing at a time. If I'm say just doing the dishes, which it turns out is very boring, so I'm definitely going to keep a podcast on in the background when that's happening. Or if I'm say getting ready in the morning, recognizing that, if I don't have that podcast on in the background, it kind of gives me a chance to maybe think a little bit more about what's coming up in the day ahead or this or that. And it is a more relaxed, I felt more relaxed afterwards. So it just has given me pause to think about some of these things that I do day to day, and thinking like, maybe I should be thinking a bit more about, when it's more appropriate to monotask than others. Even a couple of days ago, my wonderful resident was running an IV on me during our meeting, and normally while she's working on this or that, adjusting the bag or getting the line set up, or taping down my arm or whatnot, I would say, be talking to her about, clinical or related things or whatnot. And I kind of took a step back and thought like, is she really going to be able to focus as much? Am I going to be able to focus as much as like this is happening? And so I just, didn't bring that up. We just had a little bit more small talk. And ultimately, I think that it was we ultimately, I think, had a more productive meeting. The things that I might have brought up to her while she was, getting my IV set up or adjusted, maybe we would have had to review again at a future junction or whatnot. But it definitely had a more relaxed pace to things as opposed to trying to cram too much in all at once. So in this very busy world of ours, where there's so much to do, so many things that we want to do, there's certainly that temptation to multitask, quote unquote multitask. But I think that recognizing that we can't truly multitask, and that monotasking at certain times may ultimately be more productive and less stressful for our nervous systems is definitely something that I've been thinking about and taking to heart. So anyways, I hope this topic is interesting. Once again, it's the Art of Manliness podcast, episode number 768. So definitely worth a listen, in my opinion. The person being interviewed wrote a book, and I'm sure it's an interesting book. It's not made it to the top of my list. Too many other more exciting books to look at prior to that, but I knew it was really, really worth a listen, and it's just a great podcast in general, which I highly recommend. So if you have any questions about this topic or anything else, please feel free to post in the comment section below, and I will get to that as soon as I can.